The most dangerous person in your life is rarely the one who looks dangerous. They're the one who smiles warmly, remembers your favorite coffee order, asks how you are, and holds eye contact just long enough to make you feel seen. You tell yourself, I'm overthinking it. They're just confident. They're just intense. They're just different. But slowly, almost invisibly, your world starts bending around them. Your mood, your choices, your time, your self-respect. Tonight we're going to walk through a quieter, colder reality. How to recognize when the someone in your life isn't just difficult or flawed, but deeply destructive. Not the movie version of evil, not a villain in a cape, but a person who repeatedly chooses harm, manipulation, and control, even when they could choose otherwise. By the end of this video, you'll know 5 subtle but powerful signs that you're dealing with someone like this. And you'll also learn how to do something most people never manage to do. Set boundaries so firm that even the most manipulative person can no longer use you as their stage. There's one more promise I'll make. At the end, I'll share a simple mental shift Stoic philosophers used whenever they had to deal with cruel, selfish, or deceitful people. A shift that turns your anger into quiet power. Let's begin. Picture this. You walk into a room, and one person seems to glow. They're laughing. People are gathered around them. The energy pulls you in. They ask about your life with intense interest. They listen like every word matters. You feel chosen, special, seen. Within minutes, you're telling them things you don't usually share. They open up too, or at least it looks that way. They drop just enough vulnerability to make you think, wow, we really click. On the surface, this looks harmless. It might even feel like a gift. But the Stoics would warn you here. First impressions. Marcus Aurelius might say, are fog. The first sign of a truly dangerous person is not their anger or their cruelty or their coldness. It's their charm. Not ordinary warmth. Not natural friendliness. Weaponized charm. The kind that floods you with attention at the start and leaves you quietly dependent later. At first they praise you. They mirror your opinions. They agree with your frustrations. They laugh at your jokes just a little too hard. You walk away thinking, I've finally found someone who understands me. But stay a little longer. Watch more closely. Over time, you start to notice something. In every group, they need to be the brightest light. Conversations somehow bend back to them. Your stories become their stage directions. You speak, they interrupt. You share, they one-up. You mention a win, they spin it into their own victory. And when the spotlight moves away, you can almost feel their discomfort, their irritation, their need to pull it back. This is the first sign they treat people as audience, not as equals. The Stoics would tell you to look not at their words, but at the pattern of their behavior. Ask yourself, after spending time with this person, do I feel more grounded or more drained? Do they remember things about my life when there's no benefit to them, or only when it keeps me attached? Are they kind when no one is watching? Because charm without depth eventually reveals its real purpose, control. Now, charm by itself isn't proof of evil. Some people are simply charismatic and kind, But when charm is combined with our second sign, you should start paying very close attention. Sign number 2. They cannot truly feel with you. Empathy is what makes us human. The ability to sense another's pain, to understand it, and to care about it, even when it costs us something. A destructive person can imitate empathy in words, but not in action. Imagine you're going through something heavy. You open up to them. You tell them about your anxiety, your burnout, your family problems, your heartbreak. They listen, they nod, they say the right phrases, but somehow you leave feeling strangely alone. Later you notice what they did with what you shared. They use your vulnerability as a weapon in arguments. They bring it up in jokes in front of other people. They dismiss your feelings as dramatic or too sensitive the moment your pain becomes inconvenient. Or maybe they do something worse. They don't react at all. You tell them about a loss that shattered you, and they change the subject. You share a huge achievement, and they shrug or minimize. Their emotional temperature never rises or falls for you. You are a background character in their personal movie. The Stoics believed we are all part of one shared human community, interwoven like threads in the same cloth. When someone repeatedly acts like your pain is irrelevant, your joy is uninteresting, and your needs are an annoyance, they are cutting that cloth on purpose. Watch the small details. Do they ever ask, "How are you really?" and stay long enough to listen? Do they remember what you said and check in later? Do they show up when there is nothing to gain? Or do they disappear as soon as you're no longer useful, entertaining, or easy to manage? Here is the quiet truth. People who refuse to care are capable of almost anything. Because without empathy, guilt evaporates. They can cheat and sleep peacefully, lie and feel nothing, humiliate others and call it just a joke. From the outside, they might look stable, even successful. Inside, their moral compass is broken or simply never used. The Stoic response is not panic, not rage. It is recognition. You say to yourself, this person is not capable of meeting me at a human level. They are not fit to hold a place close to my heart. That one realization can save you years of confusion. But there is a third sign that often shows up next, and it's even more dangerous. Sign 3. Reality starts to bend around them. Not in a magical way, in a deeply unsettling, almost invisible way. At first, it's little things. They say something hurtful. You call it out gently. They insist you misheard. You remember an event one way. They insist it never happened. You notice a lie. They retreat into tears or anger or icy silence until you start to doubt yourself, just to restore peace. This is gaslighting. It's not just lying. It's war on your perception. The goal is simple. Get you to trust their version of reality more than your own. The Stoics taught that our perception of events is the foundation of our inner life. If someone controls how you interpret reality, they control your emotions. If they control your emotions, they control your choices. A manipulative person knows this instinctively, so they do things like turn every conflict into a story where they're the victim and you're the aggressor. Say cruel things, then claim they were just joking and you're too sensitive. Cheat, lie, or cross a boundary, then argue that if you really loved them, you wouldn't make such a big deal about it. They might even use your values against you. If you care about kindness, they accuse you of being unkind when you attempt to set limits. If you care about loyalty, they accuse you of betrayal when you start pulling away. Over time, you become more confused. You question your memory. You reread old messages. You rehearse conversations in your head, wondering if you imagined everything. This confusion is not an accident. It's the system working exactly as designed. Epictetus warned that we must guard our judgments more carefully than our possessions. When someone constantly twists your words, reshapes events, and paints you as the problem whenever you bring up something painful, they are not confused. They are building a prison out of your own self-doubt. A useful test is this. After disagreements with this person, do you feel clearer or more foggy? Do they ever say, "I see how that hurt you. I'm sorry. Let's fix it"? Or is everything always somehow your fault? Manipulation is not always loud. Sometimes it arrives as tears, as silence, as guilt trips. If you really cared, you'd do this for me. Everyone else leaves me. I thought you were different. I guess I just don't matter to you. Stoic wisdom here is sharp and simple. You are responsible for your actions, not for another adult's emotional storms. Compassion is noble. Being controlled is not. But once a manipulative person feels their grip slipping, they often reach for their most powerful tool: control. Sign 4. They don't just influence your life, they try to run it. At first, you might mistake this for care. They just worry about you. They just want what's best. They know you better than you know yourself. So they start with small things. They always decide where you go, what you do, who you spend time with. They criticize your friends. They roll their eyes at your family. They make snide remarks about anyone who supports you or encourages your independence. Soon you find yourself canceling plans to avoid arguments. You stop telling people what's really happening because you feel ashamed or tired or both. Control expands. They might insist on knowing your passwords. Demand constant updates on where you are. Get angry if you don't respond immediately. They go through your phone because they don't trust people. They question what you wear. They criticize how you spend money. They create rules, standards, expectations that only you have to follow. Meanwhile, their own behavior is beyond question. If you ask for basic respect, they accuse you of being needy, ungrateful, crazy, or controlling. In the Stoic view, each person has a kind of inner kingdom, a space where your thoughts, choices, and values are sovereign. A controlling person does not respect that sacred space. They walk into your inner world without knocking. Rearrange your furniture. Lock the doors from the inside. Sometimes control looks like anger or threats. I'll leave. I'll hurt myself. You'll regret this. Sometimes it looks like helplessness. I can't live without you. You're the only one who understands me. Both have the same goal: keeping you small so they can stay big. The Stoics would say, you have a duty to protect your own autonomy just as much as you have a duty to treat others with justice. You are not a character in someone else's story. You are not a pet. You are not a project. You are a rational being with a right to your own life. When someone repeatedly undermines that no matter what words they use, their behavior is an attack on your freedom. And often that attack is reinforced by one more weapon. Sign 5. Their relationship with truth is optional. Everybody lies sometimes. We all say things we regret. We all have moments of weakness. But there is a difference between occasional dishonesty and a life built on lies. A destructive person treats truth like clay. They shape it into whatever form they need in that moment. Watch for patterns like these. Stories that change depending on who is listening. Discrepancies in basic facts about their past, their work, their relationships. Blaming crazy exes for things that keep repeating with you. Denying they said something you clearly remember, not just once, but often. Always having a convenient excuse, a perfect explanation, a reason why obviously suspicious behavior is no big deal. A life filled with coincidences that always favor them. The Stoics held truth as a fundamental part of virtue. To lie constantly is to live at war with reality. And when someone is willing to wage war on reality itself, they will not hesitate to sacrifice you along the way. Pathological lying is especially dangerous because it erodes the foundation of every connection trust. You start checking their stories, reading into every message, looking for inconsistencies. You become an investigator in your own relationship. Yet even when you catch them, they double down. They might say you misunderstood, that they forgot, that someone else is lying, or they might shift into attack. How dare you not trust me? Suddenly the conversation is no longer about what they did. It's about your paranoia. The Stoic approach here is not to argue endlessly with the liar's theater. It's to move your focus back to what you can control. You cannot force someone to value truth. You cannot reason a liar out of a pattern they never reasoned into. But you can decide how much access they have to your time, your energy, your attention, your life. When lies are the rule, not the exception, the most rational response is distance. Not dramatic revenge. Not constant confrontation. Just boundaries. And that brings us to the most important part of this journey. Because recognizing evil behavior is only half the battle. The real power appears when you learn how to protect yourself without becoming bitter, hateful, or like them. So, how do you deal with people like this while staying calm and grounded? The Stoic answer is not complicated, but it is demanding. It begins with one sentence. You are responsible for the doors you keep open in your life. Boundaries are not walls of anger. They are lines of clarity. They say, this is what I allow. This is what I do not allow. This is how you may treat me. This is what happens if you choose otherwise. You do not have to announce them dramatically. You do not owe a speech. You simply start acting as if your well-being matters. When someone mocks your pain, you end the conversation. When someone lies repeatedly, you stop sharing sensitive information. When someone controls your time, you stop explaining and start saying, "No, that doesn't work for me." When someone crosses a line, you stop debating your right to have lines. A boundary is not real until you are willing to enforce it. That's the part most people avoid. They say, "If you do this again, I'll leave." But when it happens again, they stay. They say, "I won't tolerate that." But then they do over and over. The message received by the other person is not your words. It's your pattern. The Stoics would encourage you to practice boundaries the same way you practice any virtue with repetition. You will feel guilt at first. You will feel selfish. You will feel like the bad person. Why? Because if you've spent years putting everyone else first, honoring yourself will feel like a crime. It isn't. It's justice. Start small. Say no to one request that drains you. Let a manipulative message go unanswered. Take a walk instead of entering the same old argument. Notice how your body reacts. The tension, the fear, the urge to fix, please explain. And then remind yourself, I am allowed to protect my peace. I am allowed to choose distance. I am allowed to walk away. Stoic philosophy does not promise a life without difficult people. Quite the opposite. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself each morning to expect the dishonest, the arrogant, the cruel, the envious. He did not say this to become cynical. He said it to avoid surprise. When you expect some people to behave badly, their behavior no longer feels like proof that something is wrong with you. It becomes proof that your perception is working. Here is the twist that changes everything. What if the real danger is not that evil people exist, but that you keep giving them front row seats in your life? You cannot change their nature. You can change their access every time you choose not to respond to manipulation, not to excuse cruelty, not to soften the truth of what you're seeing. You are not just setting a boundary with them. You are setting a boundary with the part of you that thinks you deserve this. Because beneath all the signs, all the behaviors, all the stories, there is a deeper question. Why am I staying where I am, constantly diminished? The Stoics would ask you to sit with that question without distraction, not to shame yourself, not to replay every mistake, but to recognize that your life is shaped not just by what others do, but by what you accept. You may not be able to leave every situation today. There may be money, family responsibilities, fear. That's real. But even before you can leave physically, you can start leaving mentally. You can stop believing their insults. Stop swallowing their twisted stories. Stop letting their moods define your worth. You can begin quietly to build a life on a different foundation. Self-respect, clarity, courage, truth. And one day, almost without noticing, you will realize that the person who once felt like the center of your universe now looks small from the distance you've created. So, as you sit here now, think of the people in your life, the charming ones, the ones who feel cold inside, the ones who bend reality, the ones who must control, the ones whose words never quite match the facts. You don't need to label them. You don't need to diagnose them. Just ask, does this person bring me closer to the kind of life I want to live? Do they help me practice virtue? Or do they constantly pull me into fear, confusion, and self-betrayal? If the answer is painful, let it be painful. Truth often is. Then take that truth and let it guide your next small step. Maybe it's one boundary. Maybe it's one conversation. Maybe it's simply deciding that from this night forward, you will stop calling cruelty love. The Stoics cannot walk away for you. I cannot do it for you. But you can. Slowly, deliberately, on your own timeline. And as you do, you might notice something unexpected. The more clearly you see the darkness in others, the more fiercely you are called to protect the light within yourself. That light, your integrity, your courage, your capacity for real empathy, is exactly what toxic people cannot control. Guard it. Live from it. Let it decide who stays close and who fades into the background of a life that finally belongs to you. And when you meet the next person whose charm feels a little too perfect, whose stories echo with small distortions, whose care feels like a cage, you'll recognize the signs. You'll remember this moment, and you'll be ready not just to see the danger, but to choose differently.